Welcome to my channel. This video is for an Easter wreath. If you haven't done so, please subscribe and don't forget to tap that bell for notifications on my uploads and live streams. First, I'm going to take this sign and ready it for attaching to the wreath. So I have these cable tie mounts and I'm just figuring out where I want them. I'm going to add a little E6000 glue to make sure they stay on. They are sticky on the back side, but I don't trust that to hold up, so I want to add some E6000 just to make sure that they really stay on. So I'm adding one to each side of the egg, and then after it dries I will add a chenille stem on each side. Now if you try to put tinsel wire or a thick wreath tie, you would have a lot of trouble because there's not a lot of space. These chenille stems, they fit through it just perfectly. And I try to center them up and make sure they're attached right there in the middle, and then I just give them a good twist. And then just set that aside until you're ready to attach it. Now I'm attaching my sign to the center of the wreath. So I'm just finding a spot between the mesh. You don't want to jam those chenille stems through the mesh, so you want to find a gap in there. And then you want to make sure that you're attaching it to the wreath form. So you want to make sure you're going around at least one of those wires. And make sure your sign is snug, not too tight, not too loose. Give it a couple of twists and then flip it over and check it and make sure it's as snug as you want it and it's in the right place. And then you can tie down the rest of your chenille stems. Wrap it around your wreath form. Just make sure that those stems are not sticking up. This sign came with its own bow, and sometimes I rip those off because I don't like them. They always get flattened down, you know, when they get shipped and stuff. They're stacked on top of each other, so those little bows always get damaged, but it still looked pretty good. It's a cute bow. It's from Pretty Ribbon, but I wanted to just add another layer to it, so I'm just adding this plaid Easter colored ribbon to it, and there is a hole up there on the sign, but that other bow is wrapped around it, and so I couldn't fit it through there. So I'm just taking the chenille stem on my little bow here and just wrapping it around that bow, that pink bow that was already attached, and then I am tying the chenille stem there at the bottom. So the bow is kind of on top of the pink one, and then you can kind of move it around and do whatever you want with it. And you could make a bigger bow. Like I said, you could take off the pink one if you wanted to. Now I'm going to make a big bow for my wreath, and I'm starting with this 1.5 inch width ribbon, and I'm doing 6 inches for my tail, 6 inches for my loops. So you just gather it at 6 inches, make a loop, gather it together, make sure you've got it pinched there in the center, and you want to twist that ribbon before you make your next loop. And then I'm just doing 2 loops and 2 tails, and you see I moved my tail to make sure that the bow tails were facing the same direction before I pinched it together. So I'm just holding it together with a clip. Now I'm moving on to my second ribbon. This is an organza. I'm doing the same sizes for the loops and tails. And you can start your next loops wherever you want. After you make those first 2, you can do them on bottom of the ones that you'd already done, or you can move them and do on top. So just however you want to do them. Just remember to twist that ribbon before you make your next loop. So I'm doing 4 loops and 2 tails on this layer, and then again I'm clipping them together to hold them in place. Now I'm moving on to a 2.5 inch width ribbon, and I'm doing 7 inch tails and 8 inch loops. And this ribbon's a little different. The wires are actually there in the center where that burlap meets the pink. That's where the wires are. But I really like it. It's really pretty and different. I think I got that at Michael's last year, so I don't know if it's still available or not. So again, I'm doing 4 loops on this one and 2 tails. And I'm going to stack those on there and make sure that it's exactly like I want it. And I'm clipping them together and then cutting off that last tail. Now for my last layer, I'm doing an 8 inch tail and 10 inch loops because I want each layer to be bigger on these bigger ribbons. I want them to really stand out on the bottom of this bow. If you don't have a clip that you can hold those together, you can go ahead and tie each section off if you need to. And again, I'm going to do 4 loops on this one as well. Always twist that ribbon and put the tail, that last tail, wherever you want it before you clip it together. I'm going to use a cable tie to attach the bow, or to attach the ribbons together, and I'm pulling that really tight. Sometimes with these thicker ribbons it can be more difficult to tie it off with like a chenille stem or something, so I like to use a cable tie and then go over the center with a chenille stem so you can hang it on your wreath. And just move those ribbons around however you need them to be. So you can just move your loops and tails, kind of twist them around, fluff them up, however you need to do them, pull them apart, just to make your bow look really good. Then after I finish getting all the loops and tails where I want them, then I'm going to trim off the ends. I'm just going to cut a simple V shape. It's very easy to do. You can fold the ribbons down if you want, cut them straight across, cut them at an angle, whichever way. Now I'm finding the center again and just wrapping a chenille stem around it. That way I can hang it on my wreath again. Very simple. You just kind of want to cover up that black cable tie as well. So now it is ready to go on my wreath, and I'm actually attaching it on the bottom of my wreath, which I know you don't see that a whole lot, but sometimes it looks really good. It just depends on your wreath, so you just want to attach it wherever it looks good to you. If I attached it on the top, then I'd been covering up that little bow I made on top of the sign, so I didn't want to do that. And I think it turned out really well. I really like the way it turned out. Now I'm going to do this tubing. I call it flat tubing, Deco mesh tubing, because it reminds me more of the tubing. It's flex, so it stretches. So it's more of a ribbon, but it's not Deco mesh ribbon, because you can buy Deco mesh ribbon and it's just like regular Deco mesh, and this is not. It doesn't fray like regular Deco mesh, and like I said, it stretches. So I'm just making some loops and tails out of it, and you can do them as big as you want. You saw there, I think I did about 24 inches on the length there for the whole thing. And then I'm just going to attach a few of these around. It's just going to give it a different texture. It kind of has an iridescent look to it as well, so it'll just give it something a little unique and different. So I attached one to the top of the wreath, and then I'm going to attach another grouping of these on each side of the wreath. So you could do as many or as few as you want, and I'm also changing up which color is on top and which one's on the bottom, just to give it a different look as well. Now, if you are curious as how I attached my mesh, I made a separate video for that, and I will put a card on the top of the video. You will see 5 cards during this video that will come across the top of the video and suggest a video for you to watch, another one of my tutorials or a playlist. Those are called cards, and I will have that tutorial on one of those cards, so look for those, and all you do is click on your screen on that card and it'll pop down right below the video, and so you can click on that and you can watch that video as well, or you can just look for it on my channel or in my playlist. Now I'm going to attach some different fun things, some foam. This is a foam glitter bunny, and all I did was very carefully pull that wooden stick out, and I'm just hot gluing a chenille stem, and I cut the chenille stem in half. But I actually am not going to attach that blue bunny. I just wanted to show how that's done because I've sold a few of those in my wreath kits. But I am going to do this burlap bunny, and that wooden stick would not come out, so I just cut it off. And then on the very back, you see I'm just taking my hot glue gun and pushing it in there and then putting some hot glue, and now I can just push my chenille stem through the back there. So I pushed the hot glue gun into it to make a hole. And then on my carrot, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to attach it to the very top of the carrot. So I just pulled back that orange twine to show the styrofoam underneath, and I'm just pushing that in there very carefully. And since it's hot from the hot glue, it'll go through very easily. And you could also do it like on the back of the carrot like that. You could just separate the twine. Very easy to do. So here's the eggs, and I've sold a bunch of these in wreath kits, so you just want to carefully take out that wooden stick, put some hot glue on there, and slip in a chenille stem. It's very easy. You can put the hot glue directly on the egg, or you can put it on the chenille stem and then slide the chenille stem in. Doesn't matter which way. So I'm just taking this carrot and I'm wrapping the chenille stem around the bow, and then I'll wrap the chenille stems together a couple of times. Very easy to do. So it won't fall off. I've got it wrapped around there a couple of times, so it's real easy to add that on there. I'm not hot gluing anything to the ribbons. I don't like doing that unless I have to. And I'm just going to show you what that blue bunny would look like. It's really cute too, but I really wanted to do the burlap bunny, so I didn't want to do both kinds of bunnies. But you see how cute that is up there too. And I'm just attaching it there at the top of that sign. I'm going through and attaching it to the wreath form. If you had a spot on the sign, you could attach it to your sign as well, but I don't. And so it's kind of over that bow, and it kind of looks like the bow is attached to the bunny as well, but it's not. Now, if you left the stems on those eggs, you would have to attach it like this, and you wouldn't be able to move the eggs around, and that's why I don't like that. Plus, they're wooden, and they could break. So I like to do chenille stems because you can attach them anywhere. All you have to do is wrap that chenille stem around the wreath form, and I don't pull them down tight. I leave them up a little bit, and then you can just kind of push down on the egg and get it where you want it. So leave a little room in there, leave a little gap, and then you can move it around, you can bend it, and so it just gives you a lot more flexibility. And I'm just adding, I think I added 3 to each side if I remember correctly. I will show you in just a second. Here we go. There's a blue one, a yellow one. Can't see that one, may have been a purple one. Yeah, it was a purple one. So there are 6 total that I added. I think they turned out really cute. And then I'm doubling up this twine. I'm just going to add a twine hanger on the top of this wreath, so you can use it as a hanger if somebody needed that. And like I said, I doubled it up because it's kind of thin, and I'm tying like 3 knots, and then I'm hot gluing the knot together because I don't want it to come apart. So very simple to do, and it just adds a little something extra. Okay guys, here is the finished product. I'm really proud of this wreath. I think it turned out really cute. Thank you so much for watching. Comment, share, like, subscribe. Please be kind with your comments. Please be kind to others, and happy crafting.